Okay. Will all please rise? Dear Lord, we assemble this evening on the people's business, sworn to protect our freedoms and uphold our laws. We all seek to serve the citizens of the town of Newton. We ask your guidance in the decisions that we discuss this evening so that the people of Newton will benefit. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone that came here tonight. It's a pleasure to see so many people, especially on such an evening when we're going to literally have 2 officers sworn in to higher positions. Pleasure to see you all. With that, can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Dixon?
Here.
Mr. Flynn?
Here.
Mr. Schlaffer?
Here.
Mrs. Lavoie? Here. Mayor Diglio?
Here. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this regular meeting was given to the 2 newspapers of record and posted on the official bulletin board on January 2nd, 2020. At this time, I am looking for a motion to approve the minutes of January 27th, 2020 regular meeting.
I'll offer the minutes for the January 27th meeting.
And I'll second.
I have a motion by Councilwoman LaFleur and a second by Councilman Schlaffer. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mr. Schlaffer?
Yes.
Mrs. Lavoie?
Yes.
Mayor Diglio?
Yes. At this time, it is our honor to swear in Officer Lieutenant Stephen Van Nieuwland. Please come forward.
Stephen Van Nieuwland grew up in Sussex County and currently lives in Wantage with his wife Julia and daughters Paige and Morgan. Steve always had the desire to become a police officer and graduated High Point Regional High School in 1989. He attended Sussex County Community College where he graduated with a degree in criminal justice in 1998. Steve was hired in January of 2000 by Chief Michael Meeker and attended the 201st Municipal Class at the New Jersey State Police Academy in Seagirt. And upon graduating, he was assigned to patrol duty. In 2004, he was assigned to the Newton Police Traffic Bureau. In 2012, Steve was then reassigned to regular patrol duty until 2014 when he was assigned to the Detective Bureau. In 2017, Steve was promoted to sergeant and supervised the Detective Bureau as Detective Sergeant. Stephen has been involved in numerous duties and assignments which include firearms instructor, fatal accidents investigations, drug recognition expert, field training officer, certified child seat technician, and a facilitator of the Share the Keys program. Stephen also is a graduate of the West Point Command and Leadership program. Stephen looks forward to the challenges of the position of police lieutenant and working with the great men and women of the Newton Police Department who will make his transition easier. He is excited to serve the residents of the town of Newton in his new role.
Mayor, why don't you do this?
Okay. I, Stephen Van Nieuwland,
I, Stephen Van Nieuwland,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of
That I
the
will-
United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments
and to the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people.
and that I will faithfully,
And I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office of Police Lieutenant
of the office of Police Lieutenant
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
I just want to thank everybody for coming, to my family and friends. I want to thank the guys in the department. So I'm excited to be in this transition, fulfilling the role of lieutenant. I want to thank Tom Russo, the town council, for supporting me as lieutenant and also supporting the police department. So thank you.
just very briefly, without a doubt, one of the best aspects of my new position is to promote individuals who are deserving of advancement within the Newton Police Department. And tonight, I am fortunate to be the chief when 2 more such promotions are taking place. First, Steve Nolan to the rank of Support Services Lieutenant. I first met Stephen Nolan in 2000 when I was assigned to be his field training officer. As a result, I knew pretty early on that Steve was going to advance through the ranks of our department if given the opportunity, because he was an individual who possessed important qualities like integrity and character. As time passed, he took on various responsibilities, such as becoming a drug recognition expert, a traffic officer, a directed patrol officer, and a detective. Though his positions have changed over the last 20 years, one thing remained constant: his willingness to consistently put his best effort into everything that he was selected for. From fatal accident investigations, to becoming a child safety seat technician, to eventually supervising the Detective Bureau. He has taken on many responsibilities during his career and excelled at them all. However, he also found the time to give back to others by being president of local PBA 138 for 12 years, serving as a school board member within his township, and coaching his daughter's athletic teams. Someone once said, "To much is given, much is expected." Rest assured, Steve wasn't given anything. He worked for and earned all that he has achieved. When I think of Stephen Nolan, I think of a person who is respected, who is selfless, and who is a problem solver. As an officer, he has developed a reputation for always providing supervision and direction, and helping others whenever possible, time and time again. These are all qualities that are not learned, but are inherent in his very nature and help make Steve the person he is today. Like many others within this fine department of ours, he is an individual who works hard, prides himself on a good job, and tries to make a difference in the community he serves. Tonight, it gives me great pleasure to recognize Stephen Nolan on his promotion to lieutenant. Congratulations to a good friend, a great fellow officer, and even a better person. And though he may never admit it, we are fortunate to have him as a member of our department, and now as our newest lieutenant.
All right, next, come on up, Joseph. Joseph was born and raised in the town of Newton. Joe currently lives in the town of Newton with his wife Joanna and daughter Meadow. He attended the Newton School District and graduated from Newton High School in 2001. Shortly after, he began working for the Newton Department of Public Works as a part-time employee. He was then hired as a full-time employee in September of 2001. In January of 2004, he was hired by the Stillwater Police Department and attended the Morris County Police Academy. In February of 2005, he was hired by the Blairstown Police Department. In 2006, the Blairstown Police Department went through a series of layoffs. Joe's goal was always to become a Newton police officer. He volunteered to be laid off, and a fellow officer was able to keep his job in Blairstown. He was then hired by Newton Police Chief John Tomasola in April of 2006, where he served as a patrolman for the next 5 years. In April of 2011, Chief Michael Richards assigned Joseph to the Detective Bureau. During this time in the DB, Joseph has been involved in many assignments, which include evidence custodian, police liaison to the Newton School District, and firearms instructor. He has been the lead detective in many cases, which include narcotics offenses, assaults, thefts, burglaries, and attempted murder. Joseph considers the time and experience in the DB to be a solid foundation as he continues his career. With this promotion, Joseph will take on the role of a patrol sergeant. He is excited and looking forward to work alongside the great patrol officers of this department. He also strives to mentor the many new officers of the department.
Please raise your right hand. I, Joseph D'Annabelle,
I, Joseph D'Annabelle,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and
to the
allegiance
same
to the same
and to the governments
and to the government
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office of police sergeant
of the office of police sergeant
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Just want to thank everybody for coming, all my friends, family, colleagues, an old teacher is around here somewhere. Thank you very much for supporting me. I want to thank the town council, the mayor, and the town manager for this promotion. Also, Chief Robert Osborne, thank you very much for selecting me in this grueling process that we went through. Thank you very much. I want to thank everybody at the Newton Police Department. I know you guys always have my back. If everybody would like to please join us across the street after the ceremony, we would love to have you. Thank you very much.
Joe D'Annabelle. After listening to his bio earlier, it's clear that the fact that Joe D'Annabelle is being promoted to sergeant tonight is not only a testament to his work ethic and perseverance, but also an example of someone who set a goal and stayed committed to it. Essentially, it's a perfect example of a good thing happening to a good person. For those of you who don't know Joe personally, he was born and raised in Newton and has been a lifelong resident. There's no doubt he bleeds maroon. But as you just heard, his route to the Newton Police Department was not one that others typically follow. I personally remember Joe when he was with the Newton DPW and was working in the rain within a hole in the road, repairing a sewer line on Spring Street. As I directed traffic, I watched him as he continued to dig with a shovel in order to work towards exposing the portion of the main that needed repairing. Never stopping, never complaining, never asking for a break or for someone else to take his place, for literally what seemed like well over an hour. That is Joe D'Annabelle. Though he always made it known that he wanted to return to Newton and become a police officer, he was hired by Stillwater Police instead. A year later, he transferred to the Blairstown Police Department, but still kept his focus on Newton, his hometown. In 2006, in an act of selflessness, he voluntarily offered to be laid off so that a more junior officer could keep his job. How many people do you know would do that? Put others' interests and well-being before their own. That is Joe D'Annabelle. He then was hired by the Newton Police Department, where he paid his dues before being assigned to the Detective Bureau, where he has spent the majority of his career thus far. In the Detective Bureau, Joe D'Annabelle earned the respect and admiration of his coworkers as someone who was very conscientious, diligent, and detail-oriented. He performed his responsibilities within the Bureau and in the Patrol Division effectively and proficiently, and is known by his peers to be an officer that is intelligent and one that possesses good common sense. He has always been one to do whatever was asked of him and do it well. That is Joe D'Annabelle. Within the past few years, he was transferred out of the Detective Bureau and reassigned to the Patrol Division for the overall betterment of the department. Joe accepted our decision and never objected or complained once, because it was what was best for our force at that specific time. Oftentimes, he offered suggestions that proved to be beneficial to our agency in making it run more effectively. That, again, was Joe DeAnnabelle. Over time, Joe DeAnnabelle, along with Sergeant Tom Tosti, have been instrumental in developing our relationship with the Newton Public Schools. Joe has also established a reputation as being regarded as a very capable and professional officer, not only within our agency, but throughout Sussex County, especially as a detective. I have all the confidence that Sergeant DeAnnabelle will continue to serve and conduct his responsibilities in his new position with the same initiative and motivation that he has shown since he came to work for the town of Newton. So this evening, I congratulate Joe on his promotion to the rank of sergeant. I want to take this time to thank him for being the ultimate team player and for being an officer who has reflected a positive image on our agency for the past 14 years. Tonight is the second part of our transition, and it's been an undertaking to this point, and I know that we couldn't get to here without the people over there. So I want to publicly thank them all for all of their help, for being there for me, for supporting me, for doing whatever I asked, no questions asked. That does not go unappreciated or unnoticed. Lastly, with these two promotions tonight, I said that's our second wave of promotions. But I do also want to acknowledge two people tonight. Patrolman Russell Post, you just step forward. And he has been promoted to the position, or transferred to the position of the Detective Bureau, where he will now be a detective. And secondly, Sergeant Thomas Muller. He has already been a detective sergeant running the Detective Bureau. He also came out on the road when we needed him to be a patrol supervisor. Now he returns to the Detective Bureau as a supervisor to replace Stephen Owen. I have all the confidence in both of these two, and I'm looking forward to working with them. Thank you both.
At this time, we're taking a 10-minute break so that picture. Time we need to restart the meeting.
I know.
How you doing? Good.
It's somebody else.
Even zoomed in, it's not so easy to read.
Yeah.
Tom that really zoomed in and back, but it's a little more noisy.
Wait, why as you go by? Oh, here we go! I'm so proud of you. Oh, right now?
They're going to take the girls home.
Now that things have quieted down a little. At this point in the meeting, the Town Council welcomes comments from any member of the public on any topic. To help facilitate an orderly meeting and to permit the opportunity for anyone who wishes to be heard, speakers are asked to take one turn at the microphone and please limit their comments to 5 minutes. The clerk will keep time. If reading from a prepared statement, please provide a copy and email a copy to the clerk's office after making your comments so it may be properly reflected in the minutes. Council may choose to comment after the entire public portion has concluded. Is there anyone in the public who would like to make a statement at this point? Please come forward and state your name and address.
evening. My name is John McGuigan. I live at 10 Emmons Avenue in Newton. I want to speak briefly about a veterans issue, but I need to preface my comment by saying I am not a military veteran, but I have many friends who are. And I came of age when the Vietnam War was winding down, and I was fortunate enough in terms of my choices that the draft was eliminated literally less than 1 year before I turned 18. Many of my friends, many of my current friends and many acquaintances didn't have that choice. And of course there are many people that volunteered to serve in that conflict and served with courage and dignity on our behalf. And that was a very difficult time. It was not a popular war, and people that came back from that conflict, I think unlike those that currently serve in the military, were often not accorded any respect at all. I found out recently that March 29th is National Vietnam War Veterans Day. I think it was initiated by President Trump a couple of years ago. A friend of mine who is a Vietnam or Vietnam-era veteran told me about it, and I looked into it a little bit, and I decided that I would ask the council to consider doing something in recognition of that date. I think you still have 2 or 3 meetings before that date occurs, but if you would consider a proclamation, a statement, or something to acknowledge the service of those that served during a very difficult time, I believe that it would be appreciated by those who deserve that recognition. Thank you very much. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Mayor, if I may.
Go right ahead.
Thank you very much for bringing that up here. We've actually been talking about that very anniversary. As I'm sure that you know, this is the 65th year anniversary since the Vietnam War started and the 45th year since the war ended, the 45th anniversary being 2020. And I've publicly stated this, particularly during our Flags of Honor presentation and ceremony that we did, but you're absolutely right. My father was a Vietnam veteran, and when he came back, he was not welcomed home. He was not thanked for his service, and services were not available for him. And he carried that PTSD and that trauma of that war throughout the remainder of his life. So I think it's fitting, particularly in this anniversary year, and because we have that date coming up, that we will recognize. As a matter of fact, yesterday I was at Walmart, and there are 2 Vietnam veterans that were in front of me that are part of the Sussex County Vietnam Veterans Group. The 2 of them were wearing proudly their hats and wearing proudly their jackets, illustrating that they have not forgotten. They have not forgotten each other. They have not forgotten their service, but are proud of their service and continue to celebrate that sacrifice that they made for the country in honor of themselves and the others by participating in this ongoing group where they come together and raise awareness and raise money and have events. So I just want to thank you for, although we were already discussing that, bringing that to our attention from the floor for sure.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to make any comments? At this point, I will close that portion of the meeting and move on to council and manager reports. Bear with me when I read mine. Okay, January 28th, Matt Dixon and I attended a meeting with John Connolly, Sussex County Community College president. John gave a history of the college and the background for the McGuire property purchase. That evening, I also attended the St. Patrick's Day Parade Committee meeting. We discussed sponsors, participants, lineup, and parade route. Different members were assigned responsibilities for the next meeting. January 29th, I met with Cheryl Krause, the Deputy District Director, and Lauren Connolly, Director of Return on Investment, both from Congressman Josh Gottheimer's office, to discuss available grants, including the COPS program, the AFG grant, and the GSA program, among others. Lauren sent me information on these various grants. January 30th, I attended the walkout for Lieutenant Mark Zapper. His son, Officer Gerald Zapper, recalled his father's many years of service and thanked him for being an outstanding role model. On behalf of the council and myself, I also want to thank Lieutenant Mark Zapper for his many years of service. He will be missed. Later that night, I attended the Sussex County League of Municipality meeting. Senator Steve Arojo was the guest speaker, and he discussed the various bills which are currently being talked about in the state level. February 3rd, John Paul Cush, captain of the Newton First Aid Squad, and I met with Lorraine Reed to discuss a grant that would allow improvements to the squad house to make it ADA compliant. February 5th, there was a meeting at the college which was attended by town manager Tom Russo, Jessica Caldwell, Matt Dixon, Tiana, our bond counsel, and myself, as well as John Connolly, college president, Glenn Keynes, attorney for the college, and several other representatives from the college. We discussed the request for qualifications in detail and the needs of both the college and the town. Further information is needed and will be investigated by both counselors. Once this information is obtained, we can proceed with the RFQ. February 6th, I met with the Newton Day Committee to discuss plans for Newton Day. Those are ongoing. February 8th, the council had a budget hearing, and the various departments presented their information. As presented, there would be a $47 increase on an average home that is valued at $185,150, which amounts to an increase of $4 per month. While last year we did not have an increase, that was largely due to the fact that we did not have the pool expenses and contracts were not completed. This year we've had to add back in the pool expenses and the consequences of the contracts being settled, and increases in utilities and insurances. While the council is in agreement that the budget presented is a very good one, we have asked if there is any way to reduce the increase. We do thank Tom and the entire staff for the many hours they have devoted to developing this budget. After the budget meeting, the council went to the Woodside Firehouse to greet Congressman Josh Gottheimer and his staff for a tour of the facility. Chief Vercon, Chief Miller, and Councilwoman LaFleur provided excellent information on the trucks and equipment, as well as the current needs, which include replacing 802. Cheryl Klaus took diligent notes, and a meeting has been set for February 12th to discuss the grants available for both replacing 802 and equipment. On behalf of myself and the council, I want to thank Congressman Josh Gottheimer and his staff for their continued interest and support of our town. Those are my comments. Dan?
Thank you. I think you covered it thoroughly. After the last meeting, Councilwoman LaFleur and myself went over to the firehouse to check it out right before all the gear had been moved in, and the whole council had an opportunity to go to the firehouse again on Saturday. So those are my two updates, and that's all I have.
Okay. Councilwoman LaFleur?
Yep, I want to thank Tom and the staff, professionals, everyone that attended on Saturday for the budget hearings, and certainly the public that came to attend the budget hearings. I thought that it was very thorough. Tom, not only were you obviously prepared, living and breathing that document since October, but I thought that staff was very well prepared in their presentations as well as in the responses when there were some questions that were asked. And I certainly appreciate the historical information that's always included in the budgets, but then the forward-thinking and forward-looking plans as it relates to capital improvement. I went back and looked again on Saturday evening and thought again how lean it is, and the items that we can control, I think that we control very well. And as Mayor indicated, there are some things that are out of our control, but it's nice to see the fund balance increasing. It's nice to see that we're moving forward with being able to pay for things in cash as opposed to financing out equipment or improvements. I think that's all speaking to the fiscal responsibility that you and your administration has taken very seriously over the last decade. So thank you, and please pass on our thanks to your team. As Mayor mentioned, we had some lengthy conversations with Congressman Gottheimer and his staff. I want to thank Chief Vercon and former Chief, who else was there? Well, Miller. I feel like there was someone else there now, as well, for their preparedness. And we were able to speak to him not only about the needs of the Newton Fire Department, but the way that the Newton Fire Department and our first responders really support more than just the town of Newton. Being the county seat, they're also the protectors of the assets of the county, the college, the hospital, the nonprofit organizations. their first responders and mutual aid to so many of the other towns because of the equipment we have, particularly Ladder Tower 804, which is the only piece of equipment of its kind in Sussex County. And I think that Congressman Gottheimer was surprised to hear some of that. We told him also about the Fire Museum and the antiquities that are held there. He was also surprised to learn about that amazing asset and the diversity of what's inside that building that's here in the town of Newton. And I think he was also surprised in that he was reminded that, some of the challenges that we have as a county seat are also opportunities for us. So he spent an hour with us, his team spent an hour with us, and we went through. And Tom, I'm confident that based on that, as Sandy indicated, that there are some grant opportunities to really get some of those things either donated or paid for out of items that already exist. I mean, as he was walking through and talking about, computers and some of the other things, he was talking about warehouses of items that are sitting there waiting for municipalities and government entities to use them. So I think we're going to see some benefits from that meeting. Certainly want to pass on congratulations to Lieutenant Zapp on his retirement, and congratulations to Lieutenant Steve Van Nieuwland and Sergeant Joseph Danabell. I think those are great promotions. Those two gentlemen have had the pleasure of watching over the better part of the last decade just move through different positions, whether they be in school or dressed in their suits in the Detective Bureau, working at Newton Day, Coffee with a Cop, really being good, I think, outward-facing members of our police department, and I think that those are great promotions. So that's all I think I have for today. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Schlaffer?
Again, sounds like it's pretty well explained. I just want to underline the need and the urgency for us to review every available grant the town of Newton may have a chance to capture. With the help of Congressman Gottheimer's office, I think it's more attainable than ever before for us to actually have the help and expertise and guidance to get these things done. So that's really a big takeaway I had from this weekend. I also would ask the council to consider next year including a tax increase range, a cap that we'd like to see. Just to me, at the end of a day when, like we said, we were all going through this budget thinking this is pretty airtight, it's pretty incredible, and then at the end saying, hey, I want to see this dropped. Maybe having that target earlier for Tom and the team would be wise, so they can kind of come at it from a different angle next year. That's all for me.
Thank you. Matt?
Everybody pretty much summed up everything perfectly, so there's really not much to say. Congratulations to Lieutenant Van Nieuwland and Sergeant Danabell. They're going to be great in their roles. I wanted to thank Tom and his staff and all the department heads for this weekend for the budget meeting. Wanted to congratulate Lieutenant Zappa on his retirement, and no Board of Ed updates yet. Their next meeting is next Tuesday, the 18th at 7 p.m., and that will be held at Halstead. And that's all.
Okay.
Do we have a joint meeting scheduled with Board of Ed?
Not at this time.
There are no new ordinances to be introduced or voted on.
I have a couple items.
Tom.
Oh, I'm sorry,
That's
Tom.
okay.
Forgive me.
Nope, no issues. I appreciate the kind words and echo, sentiments about the staff. Everybody worked very hard on the budget. We are doing some tweaks, but we're also waiting to see what happens with the pool bid on Thursday for the concessionaire for the lifeguards and for the staffing. So that'll, I think, drive some of the final cuts and tweaks that I'm making to get it closer to your goal of $40 for the increase. John McGuigan, proclamation's already done, probably second meeting in March, but I appreciate you coming tonight. But yes, we're definitely doing a proclamation in recognition of the Vietnam veterans. Also, next meeting, we'll be doing recognition for Mike Richards and Mark Zappa, so because we didn't formally do that, so we'll be formally doing that. And I don't know if it'll be that meeting, but I have hired a new patrolman, so I don't know if we'll do the swearing in for the new patrolman that night or the following, but the retirees and then the promotions, and it's time for the new people to come in and take their places. So the business of the department continues. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, moving on. Like I said, there are no ordinances. There's no old business. So we will move right on to the consent agenda for the resolutions. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the Town Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussions of these items unless a council member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Tom, can you please review the resolutions and applications?
63 is the award of the bid for the pool renovation to Allstate Technology, Inc. 64 awards the concession for competitive contracting on the payment processing for Municipay. Credits to water and sewer is 65. We have a resolution authorizing the audit contract to the new name of Tom Ferry's firm, Wakeholtz and Company. That's 66. Bills and vouchers, 67, and 2 applications for fire department.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second the motion to approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion from Councilwoman LaFleur and a second from Councilman Schaffler. Please, roll call, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mr. Schlaffer?
Yes.
Mrs. LaFois?
Yes.
Mayor Diglio?
Yes, but I do need to recluse from check 1208. At this time, I need a motion to add to the agenda Resolution 68-2020, a resolution authorizing the NJDEP Treatment Works Approval Permit application for Thor Labs
So moved.
Incorporated.
Second.
I have a motion to add Resolution 68-2020 to the agenda by Deputy Mayor Flynn and a second by Councilman Dixon. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mr. Schlaffer?
Yes.
Mrs. LaFois?
Yes.
Mayor Diglio?
Yes. Now I need a motion to approve Resolution 68-2020.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 68-2020.
Second.
I have a motion to approve Resolution 68-2020 from Councilman Schlaffer and a second from Councilman Dixon. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mr. Schlaffer?
Yes.
Mrs. LaFois?
Yes.
Mayor Diglio?
Yes. There is no discussion, so at this time I will open the meeting to the public. Is there anyone from the public who would like to make any statements? No. I will close that portion. Are there any additional council and manager comments?
Not for me.
Not at this time. There is no executive session, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn at
7:46.
7:47.
So moved. It's
Okay.
7:47.
7:47.
Second.
I have a motion to adjourn at 7:47 by Deputy Mayor Flynn and a second by Councilwoman LaFleur. Roll call. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.